Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Is XRP actually a good investment, or will XRP holders simply lose everything? Well, that's the question being asked in this AMB crypto article, which is titled, Will XRP offer value to its investors in the long run? So I have a number of things to say about this. The author seems to have insufficient knowledge to be coming to the conclusions that she is coming to. So I'm going to share some thoughts on that. Also, and this was just a barrel and a half of fun, you guys caught wind of this Mark Cuban conversation with a bunch of Bitcoin maxis? I got just a couple things to say about it. I listened to this whole thing. So for those of you not in the know, Mark Cuban was in a Twitter spat going back and forth between this guy named Preston, very popular Bitcoin maxi out there. And so then he was like, well, why don't we just hop on Twitter Spaces, which is a newer function of Twitter, allows you to just have basically group audio chats where people can jump in, this and that. I don't know all the inner workings. I just, for the first time, used it like 2 days ago. But anyway, the point is, Mark Cuban hopped on with just like a room of Bitcoin maximalists, and he single-handedly debated them, and it went on for, I guess, a little over an hour and a half. And I didn't catch it live, but it was shared on YouTube, so I did listen to the whole thing over the course of the last 2 days. I listened to the whole thing, and wow, the Bitcoin maximalists, they were being a bunch of jerks. Like, they were not being good people. They were condescending, talking down. And then Mark Cuban, he certainly stood up for himself, but he was not behaving like them. He was behaving like an adult. But anyway, before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say are right. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so into the AMB crypto piece, which ends up coming to an interesting conclusion about the long-term viability of XRP. The first portion of this article has to do with short-term price action, so I'm going to gloss over all of that. I don't care. I want to get to the interesting part, which is the second half of the article, having to do with long-term viability. Is XRP going to make it? There's so many competitors, and there's a new competitor there, blah, 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 all that crap. There's always a new Ripple killer, isn't there? They'll call it the Ripple killer or the XRP killer. Well, here's a little subheading. Would things change in the long term? Because, mind you, while I'm not going to read this, what's on your screen, the first portion about short-term price action, it wasn't too rosy for XRP, and I don't feel like dealing with that. So I'm not. Because it's my channel, I do what I want, damn it. But here's what she said. It is a common presumption that trends would change for good in the long term. Well, the aforementioned claim might not end up holding water as far as XRP is concerned. Oh my god, but I've been holding XRP almost 4 years. Is this going to be bad for me because I hold XRP? Oh, I'm going to learn, right? I'm going to learn from this. Ripple Labs doesn't offer a completely unique service. Actually, that's true, but let me pause. That sentence is true because she said completely unique, but there is something that's exceedingly unique, which isn't even addressed in this article, which I'll talk about. But anyway, she says, the company offers an open source payment system and in effect has several competitors on both the crypto board and off the board. It has arguably been struggling to keep up with them. Okay. So RippleNet is proprietary software. That's not open source. If you're talking about XRP and the XRP ledger, that is open source. I don't know if she's conflating the two or if she actually thinks that proprietary software that Ripple has designed for payments and settlement is open source software that anybody can just use. That would be false. Anyway, and then as far as this idea of it, struggling to keep up, well, who's she talking about? Well, take a look at this. She writes the following. For instance, in a recent article, it was elaborated on how COTI, C-O-T-I, could end up being in the same league as XRP over time. COTI, as such, is a fintech platform that allows users to build their own payment solutions and already has its foot immersed in a host of avenues that include cross-border remittances, something that Ripple has engaged in for quite a few years now. Now, guys, you know, excuse me, let me take a sip of water here, damn it. All right, I'm trying to record a video, and stupid throat's acting up, your fired throat. Anyway, so you know me, I'm not a maximalist of any coin. I'm a big fan of XRP because technologically, it's superior to many coins, and it's the best cryptocurrency for payments as far as I'm concerned. But there are other cryptocurrencies that are better than XRP for various use cases. Because look, the world of crypto, it's not a one size fits all. It isn't, and it never will be. That's something that we should just all recognize and not see as a negative. That's perfectly fine. So Coti, C-O-T-I here, I wasn't familiar with them. So I just learned some surface level stuff because there are always a few go-to questions to figure out, okay, is this platform attempting to do the same thing as Ripple and how Ripple is utilizing XRP as a bridge currency? And so even just doing some of the surface level stuff, you can find out if they're trying to do the same thing as Ripple. And so nothing against Coti, but no, they are not doing the same thing that Ripple is doing in terms of positioning a cryptocurrency as a bridge currency. That is not happening. And so take a look at this. This is an article from September 30th this year, written by the same author. Can Coti be in the same league as Cardano or XRP? Coti is a fintech platform that allows users to build their own payment solutions. It has its foot immersed in almost all fintech avenues, right from financing and payment processing to white label payment systems and cross-border remittance technologies. In effect, it is on the same playing field as Ripple and XRP. Look, let me pause here. No offense to them, I'm not trying to tear down another project, but that simply isn't true. They're not on the same level, and they're seeking to do very different things. If there's a little bit of overlap with cross-border remittance, fine, but here's the thing. Ripple is positioning XRP to be used in the background, to be used in the plumbing, where end users going about just sending money from one country to another, they don't know how the plumbing works, and XRP being used in the background just makes the transactions faster, and it makes them cost less. And so they don't have to know how the sausage is made. With Coti, they are not specifically seeking to do that. With Coti, it's another one of these instances where if you want to get on the platform, you need to jump into crypto and learn crypto. If you're going to get, whereas with Ripple and on-demand liquidity, if you're taking advantage of that as an end user, you can just keep going to whatever remittance firm you're using that is partnered with Ripple and enabled on-demand liquidity, and you don't have to change anything. You won't know that you've been onboarded to utilize XRP or a cryptocurrency in the background, which is awesome because it's not easy to onboard people into crypto. I think it'll happen at an increasing pace just because that's how it works with the adoption of technology. It's kind of slow at first, but then it increases at some point exponentially. But right now, there's only, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3% of humans on the planet have ever even bought a cryptocurrency, so it's tough right now. So utilizing XRP in the background makes all the sense, whereas Coti, and again, nothing against it, looks like they are doing stuff that Ripple isn't trying to do as well. Some of this other stuff with DeFi. I mean, we'll see what Ripple can expand into do other stuff. Let me word it like this. They can tackle other aspects of the world of finance. They certainly can if they want to, but they're laser focused on solving the cross-borders payment problem because it's a train wreck today. That's what they're laser focused on. And so all this other stuff, okay, maybe that there's nothing wrong with diversifying a little bit, but at this point they are pretty damn laser focused on what they're doing, which I think makes all the sense in the world. But so Coti, again, they're not seeking to position a cryptocurrency as a bridge currency so that people not in crypto can benefit from it. They're trying to onboard people, get them into crypto specifically on their platform, and then you have all sorts of options. There you go. So just like for us here, in crypto, we're already onboarded into crypto. And so we wouldn't need to use a bank or a remittance firm to send money to people as long as they're in crypto also in another country. Think about it. If I've got an exchange here in the United States and I've got a friend in Mexico, I can just zip them XRP. I can use an exchange, or I can send... if we both have our XRP in our own private wallets, I don't even have to use an exchange at that point. I can just transfer my XRP directly to them in Mexico. Then if they want to cash out, then they can move their XRP to an exchange and then cash out to their bank. Or if we're both on an exchange already, so my XRP is on an exchange, say it's Uphold, because that's about the only exchange in the United States where you can actually trade it. There's only 3 actually. Then I can move that to my friends, say they're on Bitso. Mexican exchange, I can move the XRP from my exchange to their exchange, and then they can offboard it. So, like, we can do this manually. Like, we don't actually need Ripple, so then you don't have to pay all of the middleman fees. Yes, of course, there's going to be, if you want to offboard it into a fiat currency like the Mexican peso, in the example of this transaction, sure, there's going to be a fee and the exchange would get their piece of that. I understand that, but that's just one less layer that you have to worry about. And so we can do this. You can do this manually yourself. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you and I, we're already in crypto. We could do this. What I'm saying is, the almost 100% of humans are not in crypto. So it's not that Cody's doing something bad or wrong. I don't know a ton about them. All I did was figure out a few surface level things and find out that they're conflating these things. So like this, the author of this, thinking that they're doing the same thing as Ripple, it's just an indication that this author is writing about something that she clearly does not understand. And so I'm not saying that to be rude or mean. It's just that this is misleading the public, and so I'm using my platform to correct the record. It's not an attack on her. I'm just pushing back against these ideas which are incorrect. That's all that I'm doing here. And so going through this a little bit further, she writes the following. Off the crypto field, Swift has the upper hand in such cross-border transactions. There we go, Swift. Good old Swift. Its services are being used by more than 11,000 financial institutions in over 200 countries. Ripple, on the other hand, has only about a third of the number of institutions tied up, scattered across merely 45 countries. I don't even know look, I don't know what you mean by a third of the institutions. We know that Ripple has publicly stated they have a few hundred business customers. Some of them are banks. But look, Swift's the incumbent. So in order to get as many users as them, that's quite the uphill battle. But Ripple's been doing a bang-up job to this point. But the important thing to understand in terms of comparing Ripple to Swift is that, yes, in terms of Swift GPI, for example, which is their upgraded platform, it's just a messaging platform, which is the same as RippleNet effectively, but that has nothing to do with settlement. On-demand liquidity has to do with settlement, utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. Swift does not have a solution for that. It's still a train wreck, it's slow, it's costly, you still have no Stravoster accounts. Swift does not have a solution for that. There's nothing public-facing that indicates that they're trying to find a solution for that. Mankind hasn't devised a solution for that outside of utilizing a technologically sufficient decentralized cryptocurrency that has an open market price, which is how XRP is being positioned here. And XRP is the only cryptocurrency on the entire planet that is being positioned for this use case as a bridge currency, period. There is not a second cryptocurrency being positioned like this, period. Doesn't mean there can't be in the future, and I welcome competition. I don't care. I'm not against that. I'm just saying this is not apples to apples comparison here. And then she writes the following. Thus, in the near future, as others in the same playing field up their game, Ripple might not be the go-to protocol for cross-border payments. If that happens, XRP's rankings would slip and its price would get affected the most. Thus, given the ever-evolving landscape, even investors aren't guaranteed anything at this point. Right, so let's pause there to acknowledge that utility matters, and I'm glad there's a recognition here that utility matters, because my long-term thesis is that utility matters and will win the day. I just don't think people sufficiently care about utility today. That's pretty damn clear. I mean, in a world where Shiba Inu coin is doing very well, people don't give a damn, okay? Can we just be for real? People do not give a damn. That's just completely irrational speculation. Again, that's all that's going on here. But that's fine. Let the markets figure it out. I'm not even opposed to that. I'm just saying that's what it is. So yeah, if XRP doesn't continue to take hold in general, then sure, at some point you would expect it to be become less and less valuable, and it lose user base, this and that. That would be true of any cryptocurrency too, though, if it's not taking hold. But as far as being used as they say here, the protocol for cross-border payments. It depends. Is it going to, moving forward, is it going to continue to be important to solve the settlement portion of these transactions? Because again, XRP is the only cryptocurrency that's being positioned for this use case. There are all sorts of platforms that are improving the messaging side of this, but not the settlement on the back end. They just aren't. And there are inefficiencies there that need to be solved, and I'm not seeing anybody else do that with a cryptocurrency. And outside of that solution with a cryptocurrency, I don't even see a solution from anyone. It always requires pre-funding. And then there are costs associated with that. So no, as far as this, is there going to be a problem? Because again, she writes here, as others in the same playing field up their game, Ripple might not be the go-to protocol for cross-border payments. Well, look, again, like I said, competition is fine, but nobody is even trying to do what Ripple is doing here. And by the way, worth mentioning this too. So Cody, I looked them up here on Live Coin Watch. COTI. There's a price. It's 48 cents at the time of recording this. Doesn't really matter. It's only been around, it looks like, since 2019. And like, we don't know the circulating supply, and as a result, we don't even know the market cap. It's not being reported. So this thing must be supremely illiquid. I looked at the exchanges it's traded on, and there's 6 pages worth. It looked like it's traded on, I don't know, I didn't count, but maybe like 7 or 8 exchanges on the planet, whereas XRP is traded on a couple hundred. So if you think about how XRP is being positioned as a solution for on-demand liquidity, I think liquidity being the key word, there's almost no liquidity for Cody. Think about that. This is not me just picking on them. I'm just stating facts. Nothing against this platform whatsoever. I'm not tearing down another. I'm just stating facts here. This is a legitimate challenge because even XRP doesn't have enough liquidity to just replace SWIFT and the settlement that occurs. Traditionally throughout the correspondent banking system, because we're talking about the correspondent banking system. Like, most people think of SWIFT when they're talking about the correspondent banking system. Correspondent just means communication from one bank to another. It doesn't have to utilize SWIFT, but that's what people are really thinking of. Let's be real here, right? And so there's not enough XRP liquidity to like just replace the platform. And not today. I mean, it can grow over time and it can grow exponentially, but Cody is even further behind. There's almost no liquidity. I don't even know how you could set up a single corridor with how illiquid all of this is. You get almost no usage out of it. So it's quite the uphill battle. But again, Cody's not even being positioned as a bridge currency. I'm just saying, if it were being positioned as a bridge currency, good freaking luck. But if you're onboarding people to crypto, that's a whole different thing. That's what most platforms that I see are trying to do, get people into crypto utilizing the platforms. But that's what I always thought one of the coolest things was about XRP, just as far as it pertains to this particular use case. You don't have to do that. And yeah, there are all sorts of other use cases, so it's not like it's all about XRP being positioned as a bridge currency. There are other reasons that people find it valuable, so it's not like if Ripple fails, the price of XRP goes down. That's certainly not the case. And so if you look at the price action for XRP for the better part of a decade, all this great news with Ripple hasn't helped the price of XRP. So consider that. And that's provably true. This is why it's part of Ripple's argument in the SEC versus Ripple case. It absolutely is. And so then she wraps up by writing, however, the goodwill that Ripple and XRP have created over the years might end up rescuing the protocol if such a scenario indeed unfolds. So I assume she's getting at other use cases when she writes that. And yeah, other use cases absolutely do matter. It's not one use case for XRP. There are multiple use cases. All of that matters. It's the totality of what's happening within the XRP ecosystem, and that's the piece that she seems to have been missing. All right, so let's talk a little bit about these terrible creatures, the Bitcoin maxis out there. I do not like maximalists of any coin. I just man, the smugness. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the Bitcoin maxis. They're like the worst. Like, in fact, I tweeted this out the other day. Toxic Bitcoin maximalists are the worst part of crypto. Keep in mind, I say that in a world where Jay Clayton and Gary Gensler exist. And I kind of mean it. Like, I kind of do mean that. These creatures are just awful. The degree to they're so, like, the toxicity and the smugness, and I know everything and you don't, and you're looking at it wrong. And so in listening to what was going on in this Twitter Spaces conversation where it was just Mark Cuban taking on a swarm of these terrible people that are Bitcoin maximalists, and they're absolutely toxic. They were rude and abrasive. And just completely closed-minded. Because look, here's the deal, and for those of you that perhaps are new to my channel, here's my deal when it comes to disagreements. Like, I don't think that somebody's my enemy because I disagree with them. I don't think less of them as a person. I'm going to judge them based on their behavior and things along those lines. But the fact that somebody thinks that I'm wrong about something and I think they're wrong about something, I don't just lose respect for them because that is the case. But in the case of these Bitcoin guys, they disagree with Mark Cuban and they attacked him, and they were vicious and they were very rude. And that's the behavior. Like, that is the biggest damn turnoff, because that proves, like, people that behave like that, these are not people that are trying to get to the truth. They're not going to sit there and even hear the perspective and just be calm. They were attacking him, and so here's the nuts and bolts of it. Mark Cuban, he believes in a world that I believe in, which is it's not a one-size-fits-all for crypto, because these Bitcoiners, they think it's just Bitcoin and everything else goes away. That's pretty much it. And all these other S-word coins, as they call them, XRP and Ethereum and every other coin in existence that's not Bitcoin, they shouldn't exist. It should just go away. And so So Mark Cuban was making an argument for why it makes sense that, fast forward, let's see how this all unfolds. If you could fast forward another 10, 20 years, whatever, see what it looks like, there will be a multi-coin world. That's effectively what he was arguing, and I see that to be the case because different coins are solving different problems, and they really got into problems with Mark Cuban cited problems with Lightning Network, and they all pretend like Lightning Network is just perfect and this and that. There were a lot of things discussed, so I can't cover it all in this video, and that's not the purpose of this. Of me even talking about this. I just wanted to highlight how big of a jerks they were. And in fact, one of them, I can't remember which one of these guys, they called out Mark Cuban. He said that effectively you're just out of touch. This doesn't mean much to you because you're already rich, and so you investing in these various little S-word coins, it's of no consequence to you if they all go away. But to the typical investor, that's very meaningful. And that was really offensive. I heard that, I was like, wow, what a freaking jerk. And so Mark Cuban wasn't having that. At that point, he said, look, effectively, he's like, I've been poor in my life. He's like, I've been so poor that, he said something along to the effect of like, there were holes in my floors, or I think it was something like that. And then he says, don't tell me that I'm out of touch. Like, I don't know what this is like. And he just said, F you. He literally said that. Which I don't even mind because whoever told it, I can't remember which jerk said that to him, but that was definitely crossing the line. That's not acceptable. And then they kept telling him throughout the course of this conversation that he just didn't do the work that he needed to do so that he could come to reasonable conclusions. He didn't do the research. But clearly, if you listen to him, he researched like crazy. He understands a lot more about crypto than I would have guessed, having not looked into a bunch of stuff that he said. I hear him say he gets in the headlines talking about Dogecoin, this or that. But he actually does legitimately understand a lot more than I would have otherwise known. And so they're sitting here telling him, and he seems to be very well researched, and he has retorts for everything, which are clear. You could tell, like, these are not things just coming to him in the moment. He had thought through all of this stuff, and they're telling him he didn't do the work. Hell no, that's not true. He absolutely did the work, and he came to a different freaking conclusion than you closed-minded idiots. It's like, what a bunch of smug assholes just, like, sitting in this like, I imagine, like, sitting in a small enclosed room with no ventilation, just sniffing each other's farts and be like, oh yes, what a good brand, yes. That's what I imagine these pricks doing. Like, that's pretty much it. Wow, I was just blown away. Like, this is exactly the toxicity that turns me off to crypto. Like, I love crypto, but this is the part that is the worst. I can't stand it. It is the worst. It's just anybody that has a different perspective. And you know what's funny is, like, you fast forward enough, you are gonna see that there will be all sorts of cryptocurrencies that do end up having staying power. And I do think most of the roughly 12,000 coins that exist, yes, they're going to go extinct the way the dodo, fine. But there will be a number of winners. And they were even it's so funny, too, they were talking about how great remittances are with Strike. I won't get into the nuts and bolts in this video because I have talked about it extensively on this channel. But basically, they're trying to do a very similar thing to Ripple. And it's just amazing how these maximalists, they hated it. They hate Ripple. They've hated XRP. And now that Bitcoin's being positioned with Lightning Network to solve the same problem, now they freaking love it. Can you believe it? The audacity of these jerks. Wow. So now it's a great problem to solve because it's Bitcoin and Lightning Network, but when Ripple and XRP did it first, nope. Wow, what a bunch of closed-minded idiots. My gosh. Look, I'm just glad that Mark Cuban, because here's the thing, there were 15,000 people listening live when that happened, and most people in crypto, I'm not convinced that they're necessarily maximalists. Like, they're I think probably most people are pro-Bitcoin, it's fair to say. I am. I'd like it to do well. I don't know for sure if it's going to be around forever, but it's certainly got a for real shot. I haven't seen it tested in a world where utility matters, and that's an interesting thought exercise. But I'm pro Bitcoin. I'd like it to do well, and it very well may. But so, like, everybody else sitting there listening to this chat, I know that they're not all as close-minded as the Bitcoin maximalists that were swarming around Mark Cuban here. And wow, it was really something. So. What an interesting conversation that was. But wow, I can't stand those people. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'll go ahead and wrap up there, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.